afternoon, everyone. I think most of you will know me through my position in the North Standard Club. And this time, however, I'm here on behalf of Nautical Institute. The Nautical Institute is involved in quite a large number of projects related to the training of seafarers. And that's something that I wanted to expand further on today. Why is there a concern, actually? And I think Appo has already said quite a lot of these points, but at the moment there is extremely limited data available on the operational use of all these various alternative fuels. There have been some trials that are done on methanol or ammonia, but in general there is not much operational data available. Yet we need to try and produce a training syllabus, and we need to try and get our seafarers ready to be able to use those fuels in the future. That's one of the main problems that we are facing. Now, there are trials underway. I know that recently Fortescue had their trial or they have their own ship now running ammonia. We know about Maersk. We know about a lot of these big companies that are doing their own trials. We know GCMD here in Singapore is doing trials or is going to set up trials as well. So that's something that is in progress. But at the same time, because of all these fuels are new, there is quite an enhanced operational risk, something that is not, that the seafarer is not used to working with. I was a gas tanker master. I've always sailed on ammonia tankers. For me, ammonia is not something very special, but it's a very different animal if you are carrying ammonia as a cargo or you are using it as a fuel on a ship that normally has no high pressure, etc., that is not used to dealing with this kind of fuels. And the big problem there as well, Appo again alluded to this, the industry is extremely slow to change. What was the slide just now? I think it was 8 years or something ago, and look at where we are. So we know that the industry is extremely slow. We know the STCW review is underway, and that review will go and tell us what the base mark framework will be for this training. But by the time that has been completed, by the time that then has been accepted and is in force, will be 10 years down the line. So we need a solution now. I'm not going to run through this. The only point that I wanted to make here is the one at the bottom. We are talking a lot about LNG, obviously, as the one that is readily available. We are doing a lot with methanol and ammonia. Hydrogen and fuel cells are there on the horizon, but behind the horizon is nuclear. It is something that is slowly being started about. People start talking about it. Certainly here in Singapore, the government has finally uttered the words nuclear without getting a heart attack. And they are starting to consider things, which I think is really good. I think there is a lot of potential, but much further down the line. We will be starting with the ones on top first. What do we know? This is a ship owner's responsibility. ISM clearly defines that the ship owner is responsible to prepare the training and to make sure that the crew is adequately trained for anything they may encounter on board. Of course, they do need the STCW for that in order to know what the minimum standards are, but it is an operator's, it is a ship owner's responsibility to do so. What the problem there, of course, is the scale at which it needs to be done. What are the estimates? Roughly 800,000 seafarers that need to be trained in order to be ready for all of the fuels, and we are having ships coming online. Whether or not they are going to use alternative fuels is something else, but at least they are coming online, they are being delivered, they are ready to burn alternative fuels. So we need to be ready for this. How do we fit in from the Nautical Institute side? I'll start by the main one, of course, the Just Transition Task Force. Nautical Institute is a part of that task force as well. This is a collaboration between the Chamber of Shipping, the ITF, the World Maritime University. It's funded by Lloyd's, etc., etc. There's a whole string of partners involved in this. They recently released a study into what the curriculum for alternative fuels should be at STCW level. What they are now doing, IMO quite liked the presentation that they made, and this, the Just Transition workforce is now working on putting a proper proposal to the IMO for submission towards the end of the year or early next year. Then quite recently, the Maritime Technologies Forum, they released their own guidelines. And this is a guideline really to change what the safety management systems on board should be, and where is the gap analysis between what currently the SMS has and what would be required in order to be able to operate alternative fuels on board. These guidelines were released, I think, earlier this month or late March, and are available online. They identify the various gaps and they provide guidance to the ship owner on how to prepare their manuals. The MCA, meanwhile, has given guidance and said that all the training should be based on the existing IGF code that is available, but then added on for the various specific fuels. But, and I'm going to caveat this later, so don't contradict me immediately, there is nothing yet available in the market. There are no, and again, don't contradict me, I will correct myself in a second. There is nothing available at the various maritime academies on training for alternative fuels. That said, MPA did announce at the beginning of the week that they are setting up a new center here in Singapore, which is called, if I can find it back here, the Maritime Energy Training Facility. That was announced on Monday. This will consist of, together with 22 partners, it also includes the Singapore Maritime Academy. And as part of that center, they already prepared the first training course that is already available, but it is focused on methanol only. But I'm sure Captain Sully will explain this further during his part. So when I was preparing this last week, I wasn't aware of this. So I've only learned this earlier this week, that this has now been announced. At the same time, the Nautical Institute is finishing. We are making a general industry standard familiarization course for alternative fuels. That is currently going through a couple of dry runs and will be available in the market at some point this month. That will be an online 2-day course. At the same time, the Nautical Institute is also working on its own standard. From the Nautical Institute, of course, we work together with the Just Transition Task Force on the STCW side, and we support the revision of that, but the Nautical Institute is not providing STCW courses. What we are known for is to provide anything that goes above and beyond STCW. So even similarly from the alternative fuel side, we are looking at what extra will be required, and we are making our own syllabus for that. That is something that is currently in progress. We are waiting for feedback from a couple of manufacturers, and then that course will be ready and will be put into the market as well. So looking forward, we know that there are quite a number of initiatives that are now in progress. We know that certainly here in Singapore, they are definitely ahead of the curve, and there will be seafarer training available. I'm really looking forward to the STCW review, as and when that goes on, to see what they are going to recommend with regards to alternative fuels. In conclusion, we know how important it is to make sure that, and Appo stressed this in his part as well, to focus on the knowledge and the skills of the seafarers on board. That is really important. We need to make sure that those seafarers are ready. We have a very short window to do so, because the ships are going to come on stream. And we need to work together on this within the industry. The various partners that are involved, there's no point everybody doing their own thing. We need to work in collaboration together with everybody else. towards having that common standard. Thank you very much.